And so the theme of our conversation this morning is to talk about technology's impact on boosting profitability and boosting your bottom line. So I'm going to invite some folks up here with me. First, Bo Blackburn. Let's give him a round of applause, everyone. We got Mark Blagden. Mark. And Ken Elmer. Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Morning.
You're kind of like our audience. Good morning, gentlemen.
Well, hello.
Hello. Bo, let's start with you. Just give us like a 2-second overview of Seller Shield, your company.
Remember, I'm a lawyer, so if you ask me to do anything with a time limit, I'm going to go over
Everything
the
is
time
on the
limit.
record. This is not a deposition.
Okay. Yeah, quickly, my background is a lawyer representing real estate agents and brokers for roughly 20 plus years. And doing that, I observed a couple of things that led me and a few other folks to start Seller Shield. And those two things are everyone in a real estate transaction has some protection from claims except the seller. As you guys know, realtors, title, mortgage, they all have an E&O policy to protect them. And the other thing is the claims themselves almost always come from the disclosure documents. So at Seller Shield, we do two things. We help sellers fill out their disclosure documents. Think TurboTax, but obviously for disclosure documents. And then we have a protection plan for sellers that they can opt into to protect them in the event that there's a claim regarding the sale of their home.
Awesome. Mark, tell us a little bit about AccountTECH.
So AccountTECH is the real estate accounting system, and we specialize in large brokerages, M&A groups, and franchises. And as Ashad mentioned, we recently purchased a company called Shaker.io. Shaker.io, the tech was interesting to me because it's primarily a project management tool that's focused on the whole process of a task that you have to do, from communicating in every step of the process, automating the tasks, and capturing two-way communication between the agents and the buyers and the sellers. But people also use it for lead gen incubation and agent onboarding and recruiting follow-ups. And so we're interested to see what we can do with this new technology that we purchased to enhance the accounting experience at AccountTECH.
Thank you, sir. That's going to be incredibly important because you're going to get the first question. Mr. Ken, tell us a little bit about IDC Global.
IDC Global is a custom website, CRM, stay-in-touch tool, back-office intranet builder. And we really specialize in building relationships, right? Relationships from agents to contacts to clients to past transaction and clients, and of course with the brokerage and the community, right? That's kind of really where our focus is. A lot of people haven't heard of the name IDC Global because we allow our clients to white label our entire platform. And so they've heard of all of our platforms, but that's kind of who we are.
That's awesome. Thank you. So as you heard me kind of lead into this segment, we're going to tell this crowd how technology is going to influence their financial planning for 2025 and potentially beyond. And the theme of this conference clearly is boosting profitability. And I don't know about you guys or know about the audience, but when a theme like that comes up, I think most folks tend to lean towards the cost side of the ledger, right? Like, how do I save money or create efficiencies? But I want to cover both the revenue side as well as the cost side and technology's influence on that. And we know that we have the backdrop of a shifting marketplace. Right? A little over a month ago, there was a change in the commission sort of structures. We've got interest rates that are kind of volatile. We've got shortage in inventory. And there was a study that T3 co-authored with Total Brokerage, who's in the audience. The number one concern for brokers, number one concern above recruitment, above inventory shortages, was profitability. And we know that commissions could potentially have an impact on that. And Mark, I know that you recently published a study looking at the impact of commission rates and brokers' profitability. Can you give us a quick synopsis of that?
We did two studies on this that are very closely related. And by the way, I have some hard numbers on the first 30 days of NAR.
You guys ready? Hard numbers? We're ready? Yeah.
So the first thing we wanted to do for our clients was see if commission rates do drop like everybody was anticipating, what does that do to people's bottom line? And so we did this on over 100 companies, from 10 agent companies to 5,000 agent companies. We found that a tiny movement down in the commission rates you charge buyers and sellers has an enormous impact on net profitability. So here's a couple quick examples. If commission rates generally drop to, if the commission rates drop to 2% from where they are right now, 79% of brokerages are going to be unprofitable. And it depends on what size you are. Like, if you're over 100, 88% of real estate brokerages are going to be unprofitable. And if you're in that horrible zone between 100 and 200 agents, 91% of your companies are going to be unprofitable. So we did then a study to try to see first half of 2024, how profitable or unprofitable are companies. So it's a little bit better than 2023. Only 38% of brokerages are unprofitable compared to 40% unprofitable in the same period. But the alarming number is, if you look at brokerages that are unprofitable or only just a tiny bit profitable, let's say 1 or 2% ROR profitability, 55% of brokerages through the first half of the year are either unprofitable or barely profitable. There's some work to do there.
All right, that's a buzzkill this early in the morning.
There's solutions.
But I tell
real
you,
solutions.
Mark, let's take that thought, because you know what? We're all about hope and optimism here, right? Like,
Okay.
we're going to claw our way out of this as an industry.
I'm not sure I'm in the right
No. But what I do want to ask you, though, what I think is important is, for the brokers that are currently profitable, maybe not as much as they want to be, right? Their focus is going to be on expansion of that profitability, right?
Absolutely, and that
then the
growth
brokers
is going
that
to
are
go
not
straight to the bottom line.
Right. And for the brokers that are not profitable, looking to get to that break-even line at a minimum, right? Revenue production is not going to be enough for them, right?
Right. We ran the numbers on companies that are net negative or barely profitable, and the numbers don't work. They can't grow themselves to profitability. It's not possible. They're going to have to use a combination of growth and some harsh expense cutting.
But you know, that's where investment in technology can help on the cost side, is creating efficiencies, right?
Absolutely.
Because as we heard Dean tell us yesterday, you know, the largest line item on a brokerage's P&L on the cost side of the ledger are their people, right? And so we're not suggesting we like to see people lose their jobs, but we're looking to redeploy talent in other areas that could be revenue producing versus areas that technology can replace that, where the brokerage can become more efficient, right? So I want to get to some of those specifics, but Bo, in your experience in working with brokerages, right, like, how does your company, in fact, help them save money and drop more to the bottom line?
I think we impact at least 3 areas on the P&L. Most brokers have, obviously, a risk management impact on their P&L. They have people that are conducting risk management inside the brokerage. Also, most of them have a legal line on their P&L, and then obviously tech. For us, we impact all 3 of those because our disclosure platform is obviously a risk management platform, and for us, it's free. So that's obviously a good impact on the P&L, and it can also help reduce the number of people you have doing risk management in your brokerage. And then the legal line on the P&L, our home sale protection, the second component where we give sellers legal protection, that's a really great impact on the broker's bottom line too. I'll give you one example. We have a very, very large broker in Texas who has had, in the last roughly 2 years, they've had 13 claims that the seller had purchased our protection plan. And on those, and some of them are still pending, so it may not ultimately end up this way. But of those 13 claims, the broker has paid $0. $0 to deal with those 13 claims. And brokers typically pay about $12,000 on average to deal with a claim. So do the math on that. 13 times 12,000 was what they would have incurred without our product, and so far they've incurred $0 on those 13 claims.
Let's take that a step further, though. Let's assume every brokerage in the country has adopted what you do or you provide to them.
Hallelujah.
What, E&O insurance is something a brokerage has to carry, right? And that's not inexpensive. We all know that insurance costs go up year after year after year. Working with your company, does that influence E&O premium rates at all?
Well, it's definitely influencing the cost of E&O. One of the things we did early on is we took our disclosure platform to 4 of the largest broker E&O companies here in the United States. And we said, hey, look at this thing. It's actually going to stop claims. And when we stop a claim for your seller, by definition, that means we're stopping a claim for the brokerage as well. Hey, Mr. Insurance Company, you should incent brokers to use our product. You should offer them some financial benefit to use our product. And all 4 of them agreed, and they offer a deductible waiver in the event that there's a claim and the seller used our product, which is really cool, and that's obviously helpful for the broker's bottom line too. They'll waive up to $5,000 of your deductible in the event that the seller used our product. So that's on the deductible side. Good. And we're also seeing relief on the premium side. That one large broker I just referenced who would have had significant increase in their premium has at least stayed in the same range. Yeah,
that makes total sense. Mark, I want to stay on the cost side of the ledger for a second. And I'm a big believer as a manager, I use the phrase, if you don't measure it, you can't manage it, right? It's all about, and you really have to understand your numbers, right?
Right.
So tell me, like in your work with brokerages across the country, and you typically work with the larger ones, right? What are some best practices on sort of leveraging business intelligence and data to really assess where kind of the pockets of costs are that brokers should focus on and eliminating or at least reducing?
Yeah, I would say, just for a starter, it's the platform. Like companies like ours or BrokerWolf, where the accounting and the transactions.
Can you do this in QuickBooks?
Cannot do this in QuickBooks. You can't do it in Excel.
Okay.
You need to have the transaction record in your accounting system all in one place, like we and BrokerWolf do. And from that, you can get the intelligence you need to make the right decisions. So for instance, using our software in these past couple of weeks, we did, payroll is everything, right? Payroll is where all of the, it's where you should cut first because that's where all the spend is. Now, eventually, AI is gonna take our labor cost really low.
Totally.
It's gonna put me out of a job. It's gonna help with compliance and everything, but we're not there yet. So companies, for instance, that are really profitable have flexible expense structures because they're using outsourcing. Yeah. You could think of outsourcing as like AI done by humans until AI is ready to take it over, until computers are ready to take it over. But we found this. Here's an easy takeaway. If you want to have more than 7% net profit, your payroll expense has to be 4% or less of income.
Say that again.
If you want to have 7% net profit or higher, your payroll has to be 4% or less of total revenue. Whoa. Okay. If you go up to 7% payroll as a percentage of net profit, you can earn between 5 and 6% profit margin. 7.5% of total revenue, you can still be profitable. Above 7.5% of total revenue, you can't be profitable.
Wow. Ken, I didn't forget about you.
I was told there'd be no math.
Sorry.
That's a lot of math.
Sorry. I want to talk about the other side of the ledger. I want to talk about revenue production.
Sure.
So we all know that our industry invests 60+% wallet share in trying to generate new leads and marketing activity, demand generation, right? Why don't you tell me in the brokerages, because you work with some big ones as well, how, aside and apart from what they're investing in demand gen, I want to talk about customers for life, or more commonly known as repeat and referral business, right? So tell me, what are some best practices that a broker's leveraging to do that?
I mean, there's two numbers that come to mind that like should keep everybody here up at night, right? 80 and 60. Over 80% of everyone who does a transaction in this country is satisfied or happy with their agent. Over 60% of those people will never use that agent again.
Why?
I mean, like
That's
those
the
numbers,
question,
those
why?
numbers don't make sense.
Right. Why?
The transaction time frame is unpredictable. The tools are too difficult for agents to use. Things are not automated. Bottom line is, you know, your sister-in-law gets a real estate license, and how hard can a transaction be? And so, like, let's just use her next time because I forgot who my agent was 4 years ago or whatever.
Oh, boy.
There's this whole gold mine. Oh, and by the way, those stats are the same as buying a car. Most people, 80%, are pretty happy with their new car, and about 30 or 40% like use that car dealership again. Like, we're in that same ballpark. And so like there's this disconnect with this gold mine that everybody in this room and everybody in the industry is sitting on, which is past transactions, client sphere, all of that stuff. And we're so consumed with demand generation, lead generation, buying leads, getting all that kind of stuff, but we don't do so much with the gold that we have in the platform already. And those things have to be, I mean, there's certain like factors you really need to make that expansion, that client for life thing work, right? But they're not complicated. You need some automation, you need top-down marketing, you need really good, decent items of value that are hyper-local. But at the end of the day, you need something, right? And there's just too many people that don't, focus on the stuff that they have and expanding that from 30, 40% into maybe 67%, 60 or 70%, a true client for life type thing.
So let's take baby steps here, right? I'm an established independent brokerage in the Midwest. I'm happy with my technology stack, happy with my agents and my recruiting practices, but I literally have hundreds of thousands of contacts in our platform CRM, right? Previous clients' contacts. Like, what's step one? How do I get started? Yeah. In sort of the advent of AI, right? The buzzword is AI. Like, how do I get started? What's my baby step?
Well, I think the first thing is focusing on kind of like what you're going to give. I think we got consumed in many kind of generations of marketing recipe cards or newsletters that don't talk about the market or all these things that aren't associated with what people expect from our agents, which is what? Expertise in real estate. Right? So market-driven data, market-driven pieces of expertise that can tout an agent or your company or whatever as experts in a specific area. Like, and those are available from most platforms, like not just ours.
Yeah.
Easy to do, completely automated, easy to set up. Like, that needs to be kind of one angle that can just, go, run, be automated, and go out. And then trackability is key. Like, trackability needs to be when someone raises their hand, when someone generates a different kind of response, when somebody acts differently towards those, having a little bit of a different action towards that person. And again, that's multiple platforms, not just us. Like, these tools are available, but people just choose not to take a couple seconds, turn them on, let them do their thing, and realize that they're sitting on gold.
So let me ask you a follow-up to that. So, I'm this Midwestern brokerage, and I've been investing a lot of money for many years in lead gen. Do I need more leads?
I mean, I'm going to say no.
Why?
I'm going to say no because but that's a qualified no, right? Until you can sit back and say, all of our past contacts, all of the sphere marketing that we have, everything that we have related to our agents, everything that we've all the people we've come in contact to are getting a solid, rounded 30, 35 touches a year. Like, we've got that automated, we've got it working for us. That, to me, is significantly more important than spending a significant amount of money on lead gen, which is very expensive these days.
Yeah.
And then trying to, get in, grab those people, especially with, the commissions, the lawsuit now and the buy side being so different than the sell side.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a huge difference with cost and ROI.
Yep, I'm glad you said that. All right, we're gonna do rapid fire, guys. These folks are all in financial planning for 2025, right? Technology is gonna influence in a positive way their financial planning for 25 and beyond. In 10 seconds or less, each of you, like, Bo, what should they be doing?
Well, obviously implementing Seller Shield since the disclosure platform is free. But
That's a commercial.
Yeah, that's a commercial.
What should they be
I know.
doing?
I know. Yeah, I do think that the obvious environment, you do have to be looking at risk management with what just happened because as an industry, for the last decade, we did not. So as part of that part of the world, I think we need to spend more time on risk management and looking at the big existential threats that might be coming because I think there's more. You want me to go ahead and say it?
I think it might freak people out. Let's save that for the next session. Okay. Mark, same question.
Know your numbers, do a budget, outsource every job at your company that can be done offshore.
Ken.
I think this concept that we've had for 2-3 years, which is a good concept of best in breed, has caused a lot of people to have significant tech overlap. There is a lot of tech overlap. There's a lot of M&A. And I think reevaluate your stack, reevaluate the overlap that you've got, and look to pare down to what that building is that you have in your tech that everything is tied into, and is that as efficient as you can make it.
That's awesome. I want to thank you guys. Thank you to the audience, and good luck on 2025 financial planning and how technology is going to positively influence your financial planning. Thank you. Thank you, guys.